Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2Mnet podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling.
Okay, do I really have to say it right twice in a row? Just to clear the air here?
Do you, Eric? Do you?
Good afternoon, good evening, or whenever you happen to be listening to this fine example of a podcast. Welcome back to Life is Like a Game Show. We're getting into the home stretch. How I'm staying sober this long, I have no idea. But yes, this is a thing. I'm determined to make this a dry run all the way to the end, which means, thankfully, I don't have to do it to myself. Joining me on this ever-continuing adventure, the voice of reason on the kickoff, not so much around these parts, Harry Broadhurst.
You do realize you forgot to introduce yourself, right?
Like, people really need to know who I am at this point. Besides, I haven't gotten too many hits up in my DMs or anything like that, so does it really matter? Especially when my OnlyFans is going to be popping in the next couple of months.
Save the plugs for the end of the show, Watkins. You know how this works by now.
All right, fine. Since you have to be all rules, and yes, I'm doing air quotes on an audio podcast. Yes,
infringement!
Yes, as he reminds me that I have to do, I am your gracious host, which you should already know by now, especially since I have been told in public many times that my voice is so recognizable, you can even tell who I am while wearing a mask. I am Erik Watkins.
Thank you. It's nice of you to tell everybody who you are after telling everybody who I am.
Again, people know me already. That's the point. If they don't, well then, it's somewhat of a them problem.
They will love me. They will hate me. They will never forget me.
Either way, I suppose the name's the same. But
can we get a recount on his participation in this podcast, Erik?
I mean, are we doing this? Yeah, I think we can. I just got to make a couple of phone calls.
Noted. All right, Jonathan Nielsen, tell everybody who you are.
Well, seeing as you just did, I'm the person who is responsible for getting Erik, and also partly myself, in actually hosting a few of these shows around the convention circuit in the southeastern United States. The JTN himself, JTN 2002 on all of the socials, but more on that later. John Nielsen, and hello, everybody. How are we doing this fine, very late evening?
Unfortunately, there's still one more of us to introduce, Erik.
I mean, there is. Not for too much longer, but there is.
I got this one. On my virtual left, the John Bauman to my Gene Rayburn, because we all know the match game was better than the Hollywood Squares on that combo show. The rancid Randy Isbell.
Did he seriously just throw match game Hollywood Squares hour at us?
Oh, I'm full of references today, buddy.
I mean, you'd be surprised we went this long before he referenced that show. This is a record for him, especially for the kind of things we've been planning at said conventions.
Hi, Randy.
Hello. You guys, I can't believe it. You guys have made it through the Super 16. And nobody has fought other than fighting with me with everything I've done. And I'm okay with that.
I mean, I'm still a little pissy about some of the choices that have been made over the course of this tournament, but we'll come back to some of my favorite shows once the polls start, and hopefully they get voted into conversation on those.
I've still got a power pint ready to slug if this goes bad.
Well, how many times do I have to say fuck you? I think we have our bases covered.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So, shall we get started?
Do we
I
have a
suppose.
choice?
Well, I mean, you guys could just BS for an hour and then just forget there's a bracket. So here is how it's going to work this episode. We are going to go from the Super 16 to the Extraordinary 8. And then on the next episode, you guys will decide which game shows win which bracket, and then which one's going to win the ultimate bracket.
And the ultimate game show winner will be the focus of our first deep dive as well. Randy, I take issue with your statement, however.
Okay.
I believe
this didn't take very long.
I believe I dubbed them the Elegant 8 in the conversation.
I would not put some of these game shows, I would not call them elegant.
Extraordinary has a better ring to it.
Some of them definitely are not eloquent.
Oh, no, there's a whole lot of ineloquent involved here. There's probably not a whole lot of elegant either, now that I think about it. All right, Extraordinary it is. Away we go, Mr. Isbell. Let's start the Super 16.
All right, let's start with so all of this is semifinals in each of their little mini brackets. Let's start with the trivia bracket. Semifinalists, the 1 seed Jeopardy, and the 4 seed 1 versus 100.
All right, so alphabetical. We will start with Erik.
As much as I would love to see the 1 versus 100 run continue, and especially with the current climate, as episodes are ongoing with Jeopardy, I mean, just the fact that you have an even fresher debate with Jeopardy and everybody tuning in from all sorts of different audiences to see who is going to be the permanent host, to me that enhances and seals it even more, in my opinion. Again, as we mentioned in last episode, if 1 versus 100 would make a comeback on Netflix or any other streaming device, it could make it a little bit of a closer matchup. But to me, I'm sorry.
So Jeopardy is getting it by your vote?
Yep, Jeopardy gets my vote.
All right, I would be next, H and then J for Jonathan, so I will go second here. And unfortunately, Mr. Nielsen, I'm going to make your vote irrelevant, as I too am picking Jeopardy. I love 1 versus 100. I made no bones about that when we first started this tournament. I thought that 1 versus 100 was a fantastic concept for a game show, especially for somebody who enjoys doing like you guys remember the BW3's trivia thing that they used to have? I don't know if they still have it or not.
Nope.
With the Buffalo Wild Wings. Randy, help me out here.
I can't think of it.
All right. Well, there used to be a trivia thing on at BW3s where you could play while you were eating your food, and you would compete against people on BW3s all around the world. And it would basically be like a series of questions on the board while on like one of the television screens. And the concept of head-to-head real-time trivia I thought was really cool. 1 versus 100 took that to the next level in that it was actually you versus everybody else in individual questions. And you had to have the ability to answer all of these questions while hoping that there were certain members of the mob that didn't know the answer to said questions, with the ridiculous nature of some of the members of the mob being celebrity chefs or Baywatch models or Playboy bunnies or whatever they may have been at that particular moment, or Jeopardy champion Ken Jennings. At one point.
Who got knocked out.
This does give me an idea for a potential reboot, but continue.
So the idea of the concept of 1 versus 100 definitely works because of that head-to-head nature of it. In Jeopardy, I think you're going more up against your own personal knowledge versus the board, with the only real person versus person element involved would be the wagering towards the end and the Coriat scoring.
Coriat.
Yeah, and Harry, don't forget, 1 versus 100 was a fantastic Xbox 360 game, which died way too soon.
Wait. There's a 360 version of this available?
It was on
Yeah.
Xbox. It was on Xbox Live. There's not a physical copy, but it was something that Xbox did where they had set times where you would play. It was like an Xbox arcade game, and it lasted only a few months. But I remember going to a buddy's house and playing that at least once a week. It was fantastically done for how sad the internet was back then, but it ran really well, and everyone wants it to come back.
So you're saying that it is not currently available, however?
No, it is not currently available, sadly.
What's the name of that show?
That is colossally disappointing to hear. But anyways, like I said, I enjoyed the concept behind 1 versus 100. I thought it was a fantastic head-to-head trivia competition. And in my opinion, it's probably the most head-to-head out of all of the trivia competitions that we have left in this bracket. But yeah, Jeopardy's an American staple. I don't think there's any way that I could vote against it here. Jonathan, you sound like you're struggling with yourself over there. Are you okay?
Yeah, I was looking for the name of an unsold pilot that was on Wink Martindale's YouTube. After many pages of searching, I finally found it, because now I get to say this. Jeopardy, yes, it is the ultimate of quiz shows. It's what got us out of the scandal era. It didn't need to be an irrelevant vote, because this is a full sweep. I'm sorry, 1 versus 100. You might be the show that made it to actual airing where you face the most opponents, but you still don't have the numbers that the pilot of Pandemonium did. Goodbye.
Oh, dear God. Oh, God. No. That. Oh, no.
There's another reference tonight.
I think you just broke Erik, and I don't appreciate that. We need.
Well, I mean, would you rather me be broken by this, or you give me the opportunity to explain a bit of my idea for a 1 versus 100 reboot, specifically for an 18/21 plus audience on Netflix?
Two words, sir. Deep dive.
I was just about to say the same thing. I feel like that would be something that we would want to discuss when we go into our deep dive on 1 versus 100, which will probably happen sooner rather than later, I would imagine.
Fair enough.
All right, Mr. Isbell, Jeopardy moves on. What's the other side of the semifinals of this particular bracket?
Yep, the other semifinal in the trivia bracket, your 3 seed, press your luck. I don't want to say it. The 15 seed, Tic-Tac-Dough.
I don't remember what the 2 seed was in this bracket. Wasn't it Millionaire?
Yes, it was Millionaire.
Yeah, that's okay. How far into the show are we right now, Randy? Do you have any idea?
I don't.
Not very.
Erik,
about 12 and a half minutes.
Cool. Here's your first F-bomb. This is fucking ridiculous.
So there's
I
two
didn't do it,
names
by the way.
really. Right, Harry, you're first. I'm second, but I've got words for this.
This is even in question for me. I've said before that I haven't watched Tic-Tac-Dough, and I have no real intention on watching it until we actually talk about it.
That's a damn shame, Broadhurst.
I get the concept. It kind of sounds like trivia meets tic-tac-toe, if I'm guessing correctly here. Yes?
Kind of, sort of.
So very similar to a better game show in Hollywood Squares.
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
There's a history component here.
Well,
unfortunately, there's another history component here, but it's not my turn yet.
It's getting to be your turn here in a few seconds, and the main reason that it's getting to be your turn here in a few seconds is because I'm going to make this short and simple. Press your luck advances. Go ahead, Jonathan.
First off, here's a second F-bomb. Fuck yeah, press your luck advances. Price is right. We're not there yet. Because, yeah, while he might not have won as much money as Tom McKee, Michael Larson pulled off much a better feat. We've
Agreed.
talked about these enough. This is a no-brainer among no-brainers. I'm going to press my luck all the way, buddy.
So what you're saying is Tic-Tac-Dough has finally hit a whammy?
No, I just got snuffed out by the dragon.
Thank
Oh.
right.
Pressure luck had its number.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to. All right.
Pity vote?
Honestly, I am gonna throw out a pity vote for tic-tac-toe, even though Press Your Luck was much more of a staple of my childhood. And I even have love for the whammy and the double whammy, which I'm glad that this latest version with Elizabeth Banks didn't bring back. But if they wanted to even spice up their bonus round more,
I would be cool
accept
with the
that.
double whammy. I would be cool with the double whammy. I enjoyed that part. That is the one part of the whammy reboot from Game Show Network that I actually did enjoy.
Pressure luck sweeps tic-tac-toe and picks up a spin?
Well, it pulls a sweep, but I don't know if it's going to spin because its next opponent ain't going to be a walk in the park.
Mm-mm.
All right, so there we got our finalists for the trivia bracket. Let's move on to the team bracket, and let's go with the 1 seed Family Feud and the 5 seed Pyramid.
Mr. Nielsen, you start us off.
Okay, so we've got an interesting situation here. I've got two fellow podcast hosts here. Well, let's do a favor here. Let's triple the points first off. I got the top answer on the board. Here's the question. Name the most popular email address to send hate mail to.
But
Erik was first.
no, he was not, you liar.
I said it first. I just didn't do the exact buzz sound.
It depends on the era of the show, but go ahead.
I'm gonna go with s.garmer@gmail.com.
Show me s.garmer@gmail.com.
Bing!
That's a number one answer. But on the other side, Harry Broadhurst is in the winner's circle, and his first category is email addresses to send hate mail to.
I buzzed.
Yeah, I think just from those reactions, Feud's the more classic show. I got to go with it. I'll just base it off of that. This is a no-lose scenario here.
Erik?
Richard Dawson, Ray Combs, Louis Anderson, Richard Karn, John O'Hurley, Steve Harvey. All 6. Yes, you span 3 different times through the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, and now the 20s, thanks to the syndication run. But you always had, for the most part, those 1 or 2 little things from each part of their runs on Feud. But it was still Feud. From infamous kisses to all the things with the bank to show me food to everything. No matter what, Feud is Feud is Feud is Feud. And whenever there's an episode on, no matter where it's from, you're usually likely to stick around, tune in, and play along. While, yes, Dick Clark, game show royalty. And, not counting the $1 million version, but even with Michael Strahan doing a bang-up job with Pyramid, while you still have that little bit of a play-along element, well, along with that, you get such moments of random hilarity, like Turkey, or September, or Vibrator. I'm sorry, I have to go Feud on this one.
My vote has been rendered irrelevant.
3 irrelevant votes in a row. Jeez.
All right, so I have an actual curiosity question for you guys. You remember back in the first round legit, not the play-in round, but the actual first round, where we talked about Family Feud and its first round opponent basically being a better version of Family Feud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the fact that Erik pretty much summed up my entire reasoning and rationale from that first episode of why I voted for Feud back then. Thank you, stealing my history gimmick.
Out of curiosity, let's put America Says versus $100,000 Pyramid. I think Pyramid wins.
It does.
Yeah. But
That
unfortunately, that show was passed on, along with Pass the Buck, which didn't make it into the brackets.
I thought Pass the Buck was a sub game on Prices. Regardless, back
no, there was a different. Oh God.
Back to my statement here. Like I said, my vote's irrelevant here. It's already 2-0. I'm going to throw out a pity vote for $100,000 Pyramid, and the reason I'm going to throw out the pity vote for $100,000 Pyramid is because I think Strahan's version of the current primetime Pyramid is better than Harvey's Celebrity Family Feud.
I can definitely agree with that.
You're entitled to that opinion.
One of the interesting conversations when we go into the deep dives on both of these shows, which I'm sure both of them will get deep dives eventually. One probably sooner than the other if the bracket keeps heading the way that it looks like it might be heading. More on that to come. I would imagine that one of the things to do in the deep dive would be to discuss the history of the hosts of these particular shows. And it'll be interesting to talk about where current hosts Harvey and Strahan fall in the pantheon of their respective game shows. So yes, pity vote to Pyramid, but Family Feud moves on, Randy.
All right, so that is one finalist in the bracket. Now let's go to the other side. The 6th seed, Password, and the 7th seed, Bumper Stumpers.
Erik, I'm going to give you a little bit of a segue into this one, if you don't mind.
Okay.
The password is Grammarly. Ding.
Well, I mean, since you're doing that, we've already mentioned about if you want to write to say how terrible that we are, to properly convey that anger to s.garber@gmail.com, you want to make sure that you have the right tone. What better software to use than Grammarly? And it's not just either the standalone app, which would help you find all kinds of errors, be it spelling, be it grammar, be it more complex with writing sentences for better clarity. You could also use a browser in Chrome, and not just for hate emails. If you want to send an email to a dear loved one, letting them know you're doing okay and saying how you're feeling in these still, while steadily improving, tough times, just letting them know how you feel. Or if you want to polish up your resume, thinking that you're getting back into the workforce. Or if you've got this last-minute paper that you have to write, finishing up the semester or preparing for summer classes, Grammarly will help you with that too. Now granted, while Grammarly is good with the benefits that you have, you can get even more. How do you get them? Well, we're here to help. Go to getgrammarly.com/W2M and through our goodness and kindness and Grammarly's own as well, you can go ahead and get a trial of all of their amazing premium features. Again, all you have to do is go to getgrammarly.com/W2M
Timestamp that. Okay, go ahead.
6 versus 7. You're still up.
Yeah, this is Erik, actually.
Now, that being said, we had in the first round Sophie's Choice. We then had later on Sophie's Predicament. I think this one is Sophie's Situation.
Is she in a conundrum?
Well, I mean, technically I may be in a conundrum, soccer to the max style, but if somebody could get on things like Snapchat and OnlyFans, you could get into one too. But we're not talking about that now, are we?
Plugs at the end of the podcast, Watkins.
I'm just saying, it's helpful all around. But what's also not helpful is this. You have Big Al, your Bumper Stumper's pal, in a wonderfully crafted game north of the border, of which I hope to be visiting that wonderful land in the very near future. Based on a road game that, let's face it, if we're on a long drive, everybody's done it at some point or another. Or everybody has dreamt of the vanity plates that they wanted to have and how they would construct them. But while we're talking about game show pantheons and institutions, we have to pay that same respect to Password. I mean, even featuring in different shows and movies like a Cable Guy and different versions of Password. I said this earlier, off air. I'm not ashamed of this. While in my heart I would vote for Bumper Stumpers to go on one last run, I'm actually quite comfortable with it ending right here and now. The password is advancement.
Well, here's the bigger password in this situation, and that is which one of these shows gets to get bitch slapped in the next round by Family Feud.
He's got a point.
Because as much as Erik loves Bumper Stumpers, as much as I've always enjoyed Password, all the different variations of it, I know that there are certain variations that people shit on from time to time, and to each their own when it comes to whether or not you enjoyed certain variations of the show. The grand scheme of things is this is a 6 versus 7 where one of them is going to make the extraordinary 8. And there are going to be a lot of people upset that one of these two shows is in the extraordinary 8, while maybe certain fan favorites like Millionaire, Mr. Isbell, didn't even get out of the first round. Randy seems a little bitter about it.
I'm sorry, not your fault. Who was the one who made the bracket?
Yeah, I made it a 2 seed.
Who put Millionaire as the 2 seed? Funny, it wasn't the 3 of us.
Yeah, It's a 2 seed. It should advance.
It should have advanced. I agree. It wasn't my fault voting through tic-tac-toe either.
I played the 5th.
4 matches, 4 irrelevance. I also advanced Password from this matchup, but let's be honest, the winner of this match in the grand scheme of things doesn't particularly matter based on the juggernaut they are facing in the regional final.
These are definitely Tournament of Champions level matches coming up. Anyway, Mr. Broadhurst, you're known for a certain gimmick on various podcasts as part of this network. If you would indulge me, please, in sending off a show properly. Well, this custom license plate is from a podcast network owner, W2Mnet. If you can guess, it's who does own the network? Anyway, yeah. Crap, I botched that one. I horribly botched that one.
Wow.
There's the blooper reel. I had this set up.
The hate mail goes. The hate
and
mail goes to the network owner.
The hate mail does go to the network owner.
Officially.
But if you want to listen to a classic show like this and us going to deep dive on it, what various devices outside of my horrible gimmicks can you use to do so, Mr. Broadhurst?
I feel like I'd like to buy an A. Oh, wait, that's a different game show.
I believe See, that would have been a good segue.
I believe you're asking the wrong person for this answer, sir.
Well, in that case, for the wrong response, I'm going to jump their team. Erik, you got an answer to this?
Would you be referring to Amazon Music by chance?
That I would, and much like that segue, Bumper Stumpers is out of here. I'm not going to try to make that blunder again.
Erik, let's go to get Amazon Music so we can get a free trial. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean 30 days. I have heard in some instances it's 90 days for Amazon Music Unlimited. If you happen to head over to the link to listen to our show or other podcasts here on the W2M network, or any kind of favorite music, or even a nice alternate podcast or audiobook, go to getamazonmusic.com/W2M network and get yourself that free trial. And if you so happen to have an Alexa powered device, all you have to do is say, "Hey Alexa, play W2M network," and it will play you the latest podcast that's been dropped. Just like that segue. So disrespect, Nielsen. Disrespect, I tell you.
Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your family. Dishonor on your cow.
Wait,
so
like
that
the
was
Snapchat
definitely
group?
not.
What?
So that definitely was not the pinnacle of my performance around here. Another unsold pilot.
Seriously, Randy, how would you feel about becoming a permanent part of the show?
Remind me why I
thank you.
decided to do this episode sober again.
Wait, we're supposed to be sober doing this?
It explains a lot. Password moves on, Randy. And thankfully, so do we from this awful bit.
All right, let's move on to the stunt bracket. The first semifinal, the Battle of Nickelodeon. The 8 seed Double Dare. And the 12 seed Legend of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah, that's because somebody decided that Survivor was a stunt game show.
I beat the clock wasn't put in here.
Well, I mean, look, the man wants to be put in solitary already over this, so come on now. Yeah, you're not the only one that does these kind of things, Nielsen.
I can't.
Very well. I don't think anybody won or lost on that one. We just have to call it a draw.
Oh, damn it.
And this is what happens when I feel the need for greed when it comes to puns. Anyway, whose turn is it?
Mine, so if y'all would kindly shut the hell up.
Before we have to go back and forth 21 times. Erik.
This podcast is in serious jeopardy. All right. Anyways, so I watched both shows growing up as a kid, but there was only one of those two shows that I ever envisioned myself being a contestant on, and I 110% wanted to be a blue barracuda. Suck it, snakes.
Purple parrots, man. Purple parrots.
Green monkeys all day, and y'all can fight me on that.
And if you don't like our team choices, you can send your hate mail where, Erik?
s.garmer@gmail.com.
Segue, Jonathan. Anyways, I'm voting for Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Nobody asked me for my favorite team. I'm kind of hurt.
Hey, when it comes to this podcast episode, everybody's talking.
Oh.
Ignoring that, Randy, what was your favorite team?
The Drake Tribe from Survivor.
We should have not asked. Jonathan?
This is what you get for passing him the hot potato.
Okay, enough with the game show puns.
All right. I brought it out, man. There aren't that many left. Let's see. Double Dare, Legend of the Hidden Temple. The Icon, or 3 Minutes Absolute Hell. Where do we stand in the vote? Where was your vote? I got lost in all those puns.
Yeah, because you're not punny. Anyways, I voted for Legends of the Hidden Temple.
See, we've reached the end of the steps of knowledge. Unfortunately, we've got to break a tie because I'm throwing one in for the OG of the Network for Kids, Double Dare.
Okay, that does it. Wild and Crazy Kids Advances. Erik?
You see, there was one of these shows that was around pretty much right when I was born. There was one of these shows that were around where they didn't have to make it extra impossible when they knew where they were on a budget. It was one of these shows that I came so close to being on myself. And I was just so looking forward to the moment when I was at the studio and thinking to myself, hey, maybe I could be one of the lucky ones that gets slimed. Make my parents clean up the mess. What have you. For as much as I root for the green monkeys on Legends of the Hidden Temple, between the obstacle course, the physical challenges, Double Dare takes it for me. Just one of those that hits you extra in the feels, and I have the guts to say that.
I can't even with you two on this podcast.
So, now that we did figure out what Erik would do, next, please.
All right, so next up, you have the 3-seed American Gladiators and the 7-seed Wipeout.
It's you, JTN.
I get to start this one. Whew. Now, you know where I'm going to go on this.
Mm-hmm.
The nostalgia rolls deep round here. I don't need to list the names again. Gladiators all the way.
E-Dub?
I mean, there are some things that you look at that and say, well, you can do that on television. Gladiators was definitely one of them. As much as I liked the big balls and everything on Wipeout, I mean, to me, and yes, I will give credit to both versions, I've got to go with Gladiators on this one.
Mr. Irrelevant.
I've been drafted last in this class.
Here's your Lozman trophy. Have fun.
Yeah, that's a dirty word up in Buffalo, sir. Anyway.
I withhold my disparaging mark about that city.
I thought I'd pop Erik with that comment. Pretty sure I did.
You did.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to end up pity voting here just because I really enjoy Wipeout. Not to mention, I think out of all of the shows, I think Wipeout had the best commentary team for the show with the two Johns. The ESPN Sports Center Johns that hosted the original version of it. And then I think the sideline reporter for them was Jill Dials, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
So I thought the three of them worked really well together as a team. I do like the American Gladiators pairing of Larry Zonka and Mike Adamle.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that both new versions did a disservice to their original games. The current John Cena Wipeout that is airing on TBS, as well as the Hulk Hogan host video motion on an audio podcast. I very clearly rolled my eyes as soon as I said his name.
That is a tough concept to wrestle with, I do have to say.
Can we box around it with Layla Ali instead? That's right. I can do it too. I just choose not to. Anyways.
Don't make me sit down and tell you something, brother.
I'm bringing in Gina Carano to crush you. Gladiators advances. I'm throwing the pity vote out for Wipeout.
Look, you know some of the things that I'm into. Do not threaten me with a good time.
Don't threaten you with a good crushing? Duly noted. Randy,
right,
help.
Let's move on to the final bracket.
Let's.
The murder bracket, as it were. Your 1-seed, The Price is Right, and the 5-seed, Card Sharks.
Erik, you start.
Oh, do I have to?
Yes. Alphabetically says you do.
Fucking fuck. Oh.
I don't believe that particular game show made it, although I hear it is in development at Playboy.tv.
See, here's the rub. I mentioned on previous episodes, going back all the way to the Bill Cullen era, through Barker and Carey, who has quite grown into it. Although, admittedly, the pandemic episodes, not my style.
You don't say. But
But with Card Sharks, because you got Perry, Eubanks, and Lord, even Joel McHale has just been knocking it out of the park. Not to mention the unsold pilot of that, which would have been pretty fun to see for a season or two. I've got to break it down to whose overall legacy do I like more? Because if I'm going with childhood nostalgia, it would be Price is Right. If I'm going with overall legacies, though, it would have to be Card Sharks. You know what? For the sake of not all number one seeds advancing in my head, this may be irrelevant, and that's fine. I'm going to vote for Card Sharks.
Oh, dear.
I absolutely, positively cannot vote against the prices right here. And the reason I say that is because while I do enjoy the Joel McHale hosted, what's the word I'm looking for? Revisioning of Card Sharks, the revival, as it were. And yes, the pandemic era of The Price is Right has produced some cringe-worthy television. I go back to what I said in the last episode. Growing up when I did, growing up in the late 80s into the early 90s as a young kid and into my teenager years in the late 90s. Being sick and missing a day at school meant chicken noodle soup, ginger ale, saltine crackers, and Bob Barker on The Price is Right. The nostalgia runs too deep for me to vote against this show. JTN, you have to break a tie.
I have to break a tie. Man, and we really were on a roll for a while there with not having to do this. I mean, you threw me a real puzzler here. This is my lucky day. I actually get to make a decision here.
This wasn't going to be a full-on gold run here.
This doesn't need even more than a split second. When it starts in the 50s and continues to today, the price is right.
Don't you dare defame the good goddamn name A Split Second.
Didn't make the bracket.
Yeah, I know. What the hell, Isbell? It's a good show.
I mean, this is such a no-brainer. It's the only kind of vote I could use that reference on, because this is just instantly made up. I appreciate the pity vote to Card Sharks, but come on.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I get it.
I'm just glad y'all didn't vote against me again, poor Legends of the Hidden Temple. All right, Randy, bring us home. Last matchup.
All right, the last matchup, and me personally, I think this is the hardest one for me if I was part of this group. The 3-seed Wheel of Fortune and the 2-seed Match Game.
I don't think this is that difficult for me, honestly. Like, I enjoy Match Game. I do. Alec Baldwin has been absolutely murdering it with the revival. He has done a phenomenal job. But when I think of American institution game shows, for as much longevity as Match Game has had, if you go up to a casual television viewer and ask them to name a game show, well, first they're going to probably say Price is Right because, again, the nostalgia is real.
Mm-hmm.
But I would argue that the vast majority of people, if they don't immediately go to the Price is Right, go to Jeopardy or its 7 p.m. counterpart, Wheel of Fortune. Pat and Vanna move on for me. JTN, does Erik get a say in the matter, or are we done here?
Oh, dear. You went for the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, and the show that's been the king of Cindy's for a long time versus the network juggernaut. Interesting. I was not expecting you, Couch Potato, to go that way. My brain really has been boggled by that decision.
Damn it, do not make me get the remote control and change from your ass.
I feel very singled out over here.
But we're going to keep this chain reaction going of giving people the actual decision at the end instead of making them irrelevant. You need to fill in the blank on a tie, sir.
I was afraid of this. I knew that this was going to be a Trivial Pursuit this whole time. And believe it or not, Harry, yes, even you got one in there, even though you didn't think you did.
No, I 100% did that on purpose with singled out. Randy, send help anyway.
Well, let's end this mad dash already.
Oh, I feel like a total idiot savant for saying this.
Are you saying you would not pass an idiot test?
I mean, the whole idea
only if I got the cram for it.
The whole idea of this is majority rules anyway.
To the two people still listening to this podcast, we're sorry.
We had to get it out of our system at some point. We just chose to blow the load all in one episode, apparently.
Yeah. All right, Erik. Enough stalling. Go ahead.
I know. It's just, in my head, this decision has been so tough.
How tough is it?
That at the end of the day, when I finally made the decision, right afterwards I had to blank.
I thought you
seriously knocking Wheel of Fortune out in the round of 16.
I thought you were going to take a bit longer, like to Old Man Periwinkle age, to make this decision.
And part of me wanted to, but I'm like, again, as much to the matter of nostalgia and everything for the Wheel of Fortune, and while in some places Wheel of Fortune comes on at 7:30, yes, they do flip-flop.
Yeah, my market they do at 7:30 actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
and there are some markets. Shout out WLNY TV 55 Riverhead, New York. They do it on the 6 and 6:30 hour.
Oh, so they go an hour early. But I mean,
7.
That's just un-American.
For all of the times, in all the ways, and I will bring it up yet again, Harry, you and I play along to this as far as our glut of game shows. For my personal style of humor, how I operate, Match Game has always had that little bit of an extra oomph to me.
Isbell, you whore.
I knew there was going to be at least one upset.
Oh, I'm upset. All right.
It's not an upset. Match Game was the 2 seed. Wheel of Fortune was the 3 seed. So.
Oh no, there's definitely some upset here because I am not happy.
I think we might have hit one of his pressure points. Boom-ts.
Wow, even silence on that one.
I am not dignifying any more of these god-awful puns.
I have a feeling he's probably looking up bus trips to head down here to see us.
He just got a Jack Barry double cross, I think. Because is that a match game vote, sir?
It's a match game vote for me.
So match game advances, and we have our extraordinary 8.
And we've also exhausted our puns.
God, I fucking hope so.
Relax, we've still got a couple bullseyes we can hit here and there.
You have been listening to Life is Like a Game Show, a presentation of the W2M Network online at W2Mnet.com. In addition, you can find this show on all of your favorite podcast listening services, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, Podbean, CastBox. Hey, Eric, guess what?
Spotify is here.
And we might not be much longer if these puns continue. Randy, where can people find you on socials?
Find me at Randy Isbell, where I continue to fight off LCSC Warrior haters. You can find me at Chapter Select, where we talk about video games and movies based off of video games. And you can check me every Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time on the R&R Sports Report Facebook and YouTube pages.
When they're not having technical difficulties.
Yeah, it made it 7 to 9 last night, but LCSC internet was a little rough last night.
Well, that's what you get for having very little internet out in that neck of the woods in Idaho.
It's true. It's very true.
Is there any possibility that an episode of Chapter Select could be dedicated to a game show video game?
No, because Chapter Select, we talk about video games that have stories. We basically, most of what we talk about is the story on it. So if they ever came out with like a cool story-based game show video game, that'd be pretty cool.
JTN, where can people hit you on the socials?
People can find me on the socials over in the Tweety box, JTN 2002. They can also see me take second chances at puns during my streams on Twitch at the same handle. And close personal friends can find their way into the Facebook. Oh, yeah, there's also this thing called TikTok, but the clock beat me in the earlier rounds.
So what you're saying when it comes to TikTok is you did not have a minute to win it.
Every second counts, man.
Damn it, you beat me to that one.
That's legit. I am HEB the Eagle pretty much anywhere social related. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Yahoo Instant Messenger, if that were still a thing, which it might be. But the email is available there. However, again, hate mail, s.garmer, you know the deal by now. In addition, you can find me at HEB the Eagle on Grapple, where I just posted my ratings for Double or Nothing, AEW's Double or Nothing 2021, and we'll be posting my ratings for NXT TakeOver and WWE Hell in a Cell later this month. So that's the socials there. Real quick, the other podcast listens you can find me on are The Reaction. Most weeks we took a little bit of a break recently due to some personal issues. I won't go any further into details than that, but to say that we hope to be back soon with myself, 411 Mania's Tony Acero, and the co-hostess with the most assists, Liz Puglisi. Also, if you enjoy wrestling and you want to read me write about wrestling, I do the 3 R's of NXT for 411 Mania on a weekly basis, although this past week there was no R's, although there might be R's again by the time you listen to this. Future dramatic reverb? Dun, dun, dun.
Jesus. You trying to get us caught in some sort of time paradox around here?
I think that ship is done sailed, Mr. Watkins. Speaking of things that have done... Speaking of things that are... Go ahead, JTN.
Yeah. I think it's time for us to pull a great getaway game here as I remind everybody, help control the game show pun population and keep your game show.
Nope. Erik hasn't done his plugs yet.
I haven't even had a chance to get into the cash cab. How dare you?
Oh, buzzed in too early. Sorry.
You're locked out for the rest of this round.
God.
All right, go ahead, Erik. Where can people hate you on the socials?
At Squid Sportshead on Twitter, while I'm not doing a whole bunch of live tweeting right around in these parts, because again, still in the doldrums, and time-wise for Australian rules, things haven't entirely lined up as of yet, but continue to stay tuned, because I'll probably keep throwing out little nuggets here or there. However, if you're wanting to see where I'm active in different ways, Flame Wars, etc., you can catch me on Facebook. You know what to do. Look under Erik Watkins, Guy, Recliner, Wine, etc. You got the right guy. Now, if you're looking for something extra spicy, go ahead and slide into my DMs, undergo the strict, proper, and thorough vetting process. You will gain access to my dark Twitter, which is really on fire. My OnlyFans, Snapchat, Telegram, all things of that sort where you can locate me. And as always, this plug brought to you by the fine folks at Rick's TNT LLC. Website and commercial coming soon. Tutoring, tax consultation services now available. Wedding officiating and notary public services available in the state of Florida.
And if you want to listen to more of me and Erik, check out the kickoff here on the W2M network as well, since neither of us plugged that. That is us, Jason Teasley, and Kennedy Eddings talking football. We return in August with our college football preview edition here on the kickoff, a presentation of the W2M network.
Well, the reason why we haven't plugged that is because we're in the off season, but the two of us will still do occasional news desks. And when Jason gets back to it, you can also listen to myself, Jason, and Kennedy with some very adult conversations about some very big topics on Black Irish. But again,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, again, scheduling and a whole bunch of hubbub around. That's why we've been off. We will be back. We assure you.
Speaking of big things, you see about this Virginia Tech freshman deal? What the fuck? All right, JTN, go ahead and wrap us up.
So let's get away, shall we? Yeah, there was a second one waiting. Of course, help control the game show pun population. Have your game show pundits spayed and neutered. Just exclude the three of us, please. We would very much appreciate it. I figured we'd let the host get off on one.
Well,
this time.
Some of us deserve it more so than others. Again, you've been listening to Life is Like a Game Show, presentation of the W2M Network.